and welcome everybody to Theory of Anything podcast, episode 6.
Episode 6.
Yeah, already.
Wow.
We're getting there for sure. Last week we had Trin on. If you haven't seen that, go watch that. It was very insightful.
Watch
that, listen to that, whatever.
Listen to it, yeah.
Yeah, you can watch the still picture on YouTube if you like for a good hour. That's how well. Here I have with me, joining me is Andy, or Dad. How are you?
I'm alright, thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you very much.
Cool.
You didn't use my third title.
I'm not going to call you Paps because I don't call you Paps.
Oh.
Yeah. Is that just me then?
That's just you then, Ford, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
And we also have the wickedly talented one and only.
Ooh.
Oh, it is. I thought you were going to introduce someone else then.
Yeah,
he is, isn't he? Someone else joining us.
For me, yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
I'm so glad.
Yes.
We've got a few shout outs from last week if anyone wants to kick us off.
Shout outs, yeah. Well, it's more just picking up on a few things really. The subjects of what we were talking about last time. Do you want me to start?
Yeah.
I did hear that there was some conversation in your household, Ford.
Oh dear.
By your dearly beloved wife, who
betrayed me again.
Definitely agrees with me that the rhinoceros would win in that fight. So yes, that's two of us at least who are on the side of the old rhino. That was one thing I would.
How disappointing!
Yeah, your wife has betrayed you and sided with me. Yeah. The other thing was I noticed, thanks to my brother, that the PlayStation Plus free download for this month of February is actually Sims 4 game.
What?
So if you haven't got that already, anybody out there, and you want to pick up on some of the things that we were talking about in episode 5 regarding Sims games, then Sims 4 is freely available. Should be about £45, I think, to buy. Yeah, free.
Wow.
Yeah.
Free to PlayStation Plus subscribers. So that ain't so bad, is it?
No.
Yeah. Wow.
Definitely not. Nice.
Are we sponsored by PlayStation now then?
Hashtag not
I thought you'd be impressed, yeah. Yeah, it can be really good value actually. They give away this month they've given away 3 free games. And they always give away at least one. And sometimes they're not very good, but usually they're pretty good.
Very nice.
Anyway, so that's all about that really. I don't know if anybody else has got anything to add.
Is PlayStation Plus something you pay for monthly in order to use the?
Yeah.
Okay,
you have
I see.
To play online gaming. I think that's what it gives you, isn't it? The online gaming and the free games.
Yeah. Very nice.
Yeah.
Bargain.
It's not bad actually. It's pretty good value. Yeah, if you're a gamer.
Yeah, for sure. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Unless someone's got anything else to say, shall we jump right into it?
Let's go for it.
Paps segment subject.
Okay, this time round, episode 6, it's my turn to go first, is it?
Yeah.
Right, well, I wanted to talk a little bit, and to everybody's surprise, I probably won't have a lot to say. So I wanted to bring some attention to a YouTube channel that I happened to stumble across called Dust. I don't know if anybody has heard of it.
No.
I've heard of dust particles.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about.
And there's a lot of dust in that house flipper game that you were talking about the other week.
It's all over the place.
No, not that kind of dust. I'll tell you what it says on their their channel page. It says Dust is the first multi-platform destination for binge watching sci-fi, science fiction, short films, and other content from emerging filmmakers with stunning visual effects, captivating plots, and complex character explorations. Robots, aliens, space exploration, technology, and human experience are all part of Dust.
That's right up our alley.
It's so
apart from the human experience, we don't. That's not really our area.
No, actually, I think it is. Yeah, but all the others definitely tick all the boxes, don't they? And
Oh,
to be
yes.
honest, it's if a YouTube channel can be this, it's very Moorish, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I
When you
do know what
watch,
you mean, for sure.
yeah. Well, the beauty of Dust channel is, because if I promote them, maybe they'll promote us. If they ever hear of this conversation. The beauty of it is some of the clips, some of the short films are very short. I'll just watch one before recording this tonight, and it was literally a 5-minute video, 5-minute short film, really well produced, good quality. I understand. I think that the actors they're not well-known actors. They tend to be, I can't remember, up and coming, budding, emerging artists,
Yeah.
in the acting field. But they're really fabulous, some of them, and thought-provoking. It's reminiscent of some of the Black Mirror material, if you've ever
Yeah.
seen those. I think both of you are familiar with Black Mirror.
I've
Unfortunately
heard
not.
of it. No, I've not seen it.
Oh, you
Yeah.
should
A
see
bit too
some.
You're
dark
missing
for
out.
my kind.
Yeah. Black Mirror is the series of longer episodes, I'd say. There's quite a lot of it, but I think there's 22 of them altogether, created by Charlie Brooker. And they often deal with science fiction and the future, modern technologies, and where we're going with that, and all sorts of things. And a lot of the Dust material is similar. I find it fascinating, some of them. And the beauty is, again, like I say, is that they're so short. Many of them are short. There are some longer ones on there. I'll just read to you some of the playlists that are on their channel. You've got family-friendly sci-fi, which is for those that afford to be pleased with that.
Yeah, that's right, man.
Easy, nothing too scary or anything. And then the next category is delightfully terrifying, so you can steer clear of that if you want. I must admit, I haven't looked at any of those yet. Then another one is caution, danger ahead. So I think that's all about what the future might hold, and things like that. And then another playlist of videos called For the Heart and Mind. And then there's another section called non-dystopian. Not sure what that means, actually, or what that's going to be like. And then the final section, which I've spent most of my time watching, is the Artificial Intelligence Week. Would you believe it or not? That's the one that intrigued me the most. So I watched an episode this evening that was actually written by a robot, an artificial intelligence that wrote the script for the... Now, I have to be honest, the actors have just been given this script that's been produced by a computer, and so it makes very little sense. It's a kind of an example of where we are with whether artificial intelligence can create art is another matter. But it was very interesting how when it's been written by a robot, a computer, an artificial intelligence, then you can see the wordplay and the conversations between the three main actors, or the only actors that are in it. And yeah, it was really interesting to watch. And that was called Sunspring, an episode called Sunspring. A bit weird. They're all a bit weird. But another one I watched was called Outpost. Again, that's another good episode. But I've been watching quite a few of them recently. And once you start, you just can't stop, But yeah, I recommend it.
Did you say you didn't have a lot to say?
Well, that's it, really. That's
okay.
bad. That's 5 minutes. That's pretty good for me.
Oh, okay, good.
Anybody wants to comment?
So, is it episodic? As in, do we have the same characters every episode within that section? Obviously,
there are within. I haven't read all the playlists. There are other playlists which are episodic. Some of the episodes are up to 50 minutes or something like that long, but others are shorter. That, like, I think actually the Sunspring one I watched tonight is part 1 of 6 episodes that follow a theme through of a particular story. Anyway, that's I'm not been fully immersed in it yet, but there's some good stuff on there for thought-provoking. The reason it caught my eye, I forgot to say this at the beginning, was that the name caught my eye because you might remember the term dust in a
Eve.
sci-fi term from Eve. That's
Yes.
right. Eve
I do.
Online produced a game. I don't think it exists anymore. It was another MMO. Who'd like to tell everybody what MMO means?
Massive multiplayer online.
Yeah, thank you. Which is what Eve is,
Game-
isn't it?
game,
But a separate, yeah. But Eve, Eve is definitely not a shooter by any means, is it? It's a
No.
flying spaceship simulator, really. A bit like Elite Dangerous, but more complex, more difficult to play, I think. But Dust was a
Very harsh.
yeah. Well, they're different. They're different in different ways, you know. They're both good, but you know. Anyway, Dust was a game that came out that was kind of a collaboration with Eve Online. Sorry, Dust 514 was a
514,
collaboration produced by the same. Is it PCP? I forget now. Was it PCP?
I forget as well.
Yeah. Anyway, somebody might correct us on that. But the creators of Eve Online also created Dust 514, which was a shooter. But within the Eve universe. So when I saw that, I thought, oh, what's that? Is it to do with the Eve Online universe? And it wasn't, but it is in a way because of the futuristic nature of it. Yeah.
Wow, very nice.
I haven't really got more to say about it other than to recommend it. But if you want to feedback on that next week, next episode, you might tell me what you think about it.
Yeah, very interesting.
But I wondered if anybody, it kind of links a little bit, and maybe we'll come back to Black Mirror another time if anybody's got any comment about Black Mirror. But if Ford's not seen any of that, then maybe not.
I've heard a great deal, so it's okay. We can.
Yeah, they're a bit. Some of them are a little bit mature in nature, you know, but others are definitely thought provoking, as is the Dust series, Dust YouTube channel. I think you can also get Dust on smart televisions as well as a separate channel, like a TV channel. Not. I know you can watch them through YouTube on a smart telly, but you can see them as an actual channel itself.
Wow.
I find the idea of a production company making quality short films quite interesting.
For YouTube, yeah, that's it. You hit the nail on the head with that, because that's what struck me. I was amazed that this was being published primarily to YouTube, and the production quality was so good. The sets, the special effects, everything was really very good. The writing, the acting, you know, I thought this isn't just some Backstreet Boys doing it in their bedrooms like we do.
I'm pretty sure the Backstreet Boys are pretty good, I think.
Yeah, the pop group. Yeah,
yeah.
That's going back to my musical era. Thank you.
Yeah,
I was a fan of the Backstreet Boys, but you know what I mean. This is a big, good quality production. Sometimes they're simple. They're very simple in essence, but they don't shy away from spending money on the production anyway. Yeah,
that's intriguing, because you kind of think, well, maybe do sci-fi fans or people in general have the attention span to sit around for 50 minutes watching one story? Is that really the future, you know?
Yeah, maybe
not. Who knows?
It's kind of TV that you could watch during a bus journey, you know, on your phone. Do you see what I mean? It's sci-fi for the immediate consumer.
Might be the way to go, because you constantly see like TV watch time going down and watch time on the internet going up. It's like YouTube figures and everything like that is always going up. So it could be
true.
Good strat. Yeah, and you can get a lot of revenue as well on YouTube with like sponsorships and advertisements and that kind of thing. Yeah,
indeed. There's an interesting idea though that television, episodic television, is or YouTubers rather are trying to minimize show lengths in a way, but films seem to be getting longer.
Yeah,
that's funny. Wow.
Yeah, when they produce a film that's only 90 minutes long, it becomes quite a feature. Oh, it's only an hour and a half long, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good, you know. But most films are now over 2.5 hours, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
Strange.
Yeah. Thank you for your thoughts on that. Anyway,
oh, yeah,
recommend it to you.
Yeah.
As I say, steer clear of some of the more it's good that they've done it in playlists so that you can stay with the family friendly stuff if you really want to. I'm not trying to condone stuff that might be disturbing to people, but you have to be, your sensibilities, listener. So and co-host,
One listener, yeah.
Yeah. Anybody out there that is a bit sensitive to things that you have to, what's the word I'm looking for? Censor yourself with that,
Yeah.
Don't fill your mind with stuff that's going to give you nightmares.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah. Okay. I think
nice.
I'm done on that.
Wow, thank you for that,
guys.
Well, I think next time when you should just introduce the topic and then just let me and Devon guess what you want to talk about.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Right, because it's shorter then.
Yeah, I think it will.
Okay. Yeah. You haven't got anything to say, so it's shorter. I don't think it's the problem that you overtalk. It's probably me.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thoughts. Segment. Subject.
All right, guys. I want to talk, if you don't mind. I want to do a reoccurring segment whenever I feel like I've got nothing else to talk about. I want to talk about Whatcha Watchin.
Whatcha
So-
Watchin?
I want to know. I just want to chat about what you guys watching, really.
All right. Okay.
It's not not meant to be like a long thing. Not a review. I just want to sort of, what are you watching? How is it? Is it good? You know. So
Okay.
yeah, I do have.
I've done a lot of talking, so you two go first. Yeah.
Now, if you guys don't have anything to actually talk about, then don't worry. I've got some. So
I've got something in
I've
mind.
got
yeah.
something as well.
and people obviously want to listen to me. So you know.
Of course they do.
Yeah. Go ahead. What do you
Wonderful
got?
tones. Yeah.
Yeah. Guess I'll go ahead then. It's not really something that you would expect, but we've been watching this TV show from America called Hell's Kitchen.
Oh dear. Really?
Gordon Ramsay.
Oh no, Gordon
Yeah.
Ramsay.
Yeah.
Really?
And
A cooking show.
Yeah. There's also
Okay.
effing and jeffing, but most of it is
Yeah.
censored.
Okay.
But it's very, very entertaining because obviously it's American. Everything's very, very extra, and
Okay.
they have different challenges and 2 different teams, and they have to do dinner service at the end of the day. And it always
Right.
goes terribly wrong, and then he smashes all the raw stuff on the table, and it goes everywhere.
Right.
And it's very, very good.
If
I'm enjoying
If
it.
it goes right, does he get very angry and then smash things?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I never really liked watching Gordon Ramsay, but for one series, I don't know if it is this, it might be this, where he would go into a failing restaurant and try and turn it round
That's-
and make it successful.
Kitchen Nightmares. That's the one.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed that series.
Yeah, that is quite good as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good, and there was a bit of effing and jeffing in that as well.
Yeah.
All right.
If we-
Okay. That's enough for this one.
Okay.
Anyone else? I've got us on timer. We had 2 minutes per thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well, myself and my wife are in the middle of watching a couple of things at the moment. No, we finished one that was on terrestrial television last night called White House Farm. I don't know if anybody knows or have heard of that. It was a 6-part drama series, a crime drama, but a dramatisation of a true story.
Oh yeah.
Of a murder, somebody who murdered his own family and nearly got away with it. Yeah, but it was, and I remember it from the 80s being in the news. Yeah, so that was good. It was very well dramatised. It was a bit disturbing, not disturbing. You didn't see anything horrible, but the ideas behind it were quite upsetting. You know.
Sounds like
Yeah, it's
stuff
always
my
weird
wife
when they
watches all the time.
Oh,
Does
yeah.
she? She likes good crime drama. Yeah.
She watches also. It's not really drama, but it's like cold case files and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where it's literally documentaries of all these people and loads of different horrific crimes, and that going into it and how they find the person and everything.
Uh-huh.
She loves it.
Christine's quite sensitive to stuff like that. Don't think she'd mind me saying, but she's really enjoyed that White House Farms. It's frustrating though these days when you have to watch something and you can't watch it again till the following week. You know, it was
Can't binge it.
broadcast
Yeah.
over 6 weeks, and you have to, unless you recorded them all and then watched them all in one hit. You know, when you're actually watching it as it's being broadcast, it's an unusual feeling. You know, these days.
It's rough.
Yeah. episodic again.
Not being able to binge.
Yeah, and more than 5-minute episodes as well. Yeah, that's been good. And another drama I'll quickly tell you about that we've also watching. Was released about 5 years ago. I think it was produced, and that is called The Fall. Have you heard of that? That's a good crime drama. It's set in Belfast in Northern Ireland, and it's got Gillian Anderson.
It rings a bell, actually.
Gillian Anderson was the actress on at the X-Files. If you've ever watched or heard of the X-Files, but The Fall is pretty good. That's a bit more graphic, I would say. There's some scenes in that you might not cope with very well if you, But no, that's been really good drama. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that enough from me?
Yeah, that's great. What I've been watching recently is a bit of Avatar: The Last Airbender, because I've been forever recommended it. It's an anime. It's for kids, but it's actually really enjoyable. It's light-hearted. It's fun, and it's actually quite funny as well, which is surprising when it's made for kids.
Yeah.
I'm just really getting into it.
Is it anything like the film?
No.
Avatar: The Last Airbender. Is it a series then?
It's a cartoon series.
Very short.
Oh yeah, okay, but it's nothing to do with the Avatar film.
Well, it is, but the film is terrible.
Yeah, same universe, same story-ish, but the way they told it in the film, like all the die-hard fans of Avatar hated the film, so they kind of butchered it, apparently.
Yeah, true story.
Nickelodeon channel, by the looks of it.
Yeah, I think
that's right.
Or the makers, Nickelodeon Studios. Yeah.
Yes, it's the guy with the arrow on his head.
And also, I've tried to watch a few episodes of Whatcha, which Devon will be pleased about because what? Oh yeah,
Whatcha.
What? I've been Whatcha in The Witcher. Yeah, so it's all right. I'm into it.
That earlier conversation.
Have you watched more?
3 episodes.
Yeah.
So not a lot.
It gets better.
Okay.
You understand it more as it goes on. Yeah, definitely.
Remind us where you can watch Witcher.
Netflix.
Oh, on Netflix.
It's a Netflix original, I'm pretty sure.
Cool.
Not sponsored.
Yeah, not fun.
All right, Devon, you're the only one who hasn't done 2 so far. So you got anything else?
Oh gosh, I don't really watch stuff. No, not really.
Reading. How about reading?
Well, I have my BSL book, British Sign Language book.
Oh,
I've been delving into that a little bit.
That goes right back to episode 1.
It does,
yeah.
So I'm actually
you
doing
managed
something
to
with
get
it.
the book. Very good.
But it's my birthday, yay!
Yeah, hey. Yeah, it's been your birthday since we last recorded. Yeah.
I don't think so. No, was it?
Oh, was it?
No, episode 5.
It was your birthday between episode 4 and 5, wasn't it?
That's it. Yeah, so that's been good. Okay. There's a long way to go, but yeah, it's good.
Very good.
Say hi.
No,
that's it. You cut that. Oh dear.
I've been learning about the history of deaf people and different definitions of deaf or hearing impaired or deaf with a capital D versus a lowercase d, all that kind of thing.
Okay.
And how you should actually approach them and be polite to them and that kind of thing.
Wow.
You could do a bit of a demonstration for us now if you want.
No.
Well, you could.
Plug my camera in real quick.
We wouldn't know how good or bad it was.
No, that's
true. One second, I'm going to say a really complicated sentence.
Yeah.
Wow, that was impressive.
Yeah. We're bordering on bad taste here, so we better move on.
Actually, that's a good point. Yeah.
No, I don't. I think anybody would know.
Any deaf people listening to this?
Good humour. No,
that is bad taste. Anyway, moving on.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Carry on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else? Yeah.
Well, I've also been watching a bit of Porridge. You know, the old TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about a dude in prison and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
it's actually kind of funny.
Kind of funny.
Well, you watch some of the older comedies, and in general, it's just really boring, weird.
Ronnie Barker, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ronnie Barker. And the guy who played Gobber, I think his name was. Yeah?
That's it, yeah.
His cellmate is Kate Beckinsale's dad. Did you know that? Do you know Kate Beckinsale, the actress?
No, never heard of her.
Oh, haven't you? She's
No.
the one. Oh gosh, let me look quickly.
I think you're just making up names now.
No, I'll tell you in a minute. Underworld series. If you've ever watched any of the Underworld series. And she was in Pearl Harbor. What else has she been in?
Oh, Pearl Harbor, yeah, I see it.
I probably know her face. But...
Yeah, Underworld. Yeah, that was Kate Beckinsale is Richard Beckinsale's daughter. Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
And Richard Beckinsale was Ronnie Barker's cellmate in Porridge. Not a lot of people know that. Yeah.
Well, now a few more do. Thank you very much.
Did you want to add any? Did you like Porridge TV show?
Well, I'm getting through it, and yes, I do like it. It's quite good.
Yeah.
It's crude humor a lot of the time, but it's fine.
Is it? Oh, it's soft humor. It's not crude.
Well,
it might be innuendo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that not count as crude humor?
Well, crude is when it's deliberately like cringy. Is it? I don't know, but I think innuendos from the era that was made isn't going to be too offensive. I wouldn't have
There's
thought.
a lot of black things as well.
Oh yeah,
it's a bit racist.
The race stuff from that period, probably doesn't easily get repeated these days. Yeah.
No, oh no.
Yeah, no, you're quite right. There are a lot of 70s drama that would never get an airing these days. Yeah, you're quite right.
I don't want to justify it in saying it was alright at the time, but you know,
no.
It was different, I guess.
I think we're more enlightened these days. Yeah.
Yes.
In these more enlightened times.
I hope so. Yes.
And on that note, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ford.
Nice one.
Yes, very good.
Well, you guys did most of the legwork on this one, which is very useful. Thank you.
Devon's segment. Subject.
Okay, so recently, well, not really recently, but I don't know if you were all aware, I know Ford is somewhat aware, that Halo is going to PC. Now,
Yes.
And when I first got announced last year, I think it was like beginning of last year maybe, I was very, very excited, very hyped. I bought it before you can even download it, and then because Halo Reach came out first on PC, and I've been rinsing it ever since it came out. Very, very enjoyable because I used to play it a lot on the Xbox, and it's like nostalgia paradise basically. Yeah. So with that in mind, I was just wondering what you guys, if you guys had any kind of ideas of what your favorite video game remakes or sequels or anything like that would be, even if it's like ported onto another console with like slight changes or anything like that. Give me some of your favorite
examples. Okay, Are you going to go first, Ford?
Oh, as much as I'd love to, I can't think of any right now.
Well, I'll go first then, because one immediately jumps to mind. I've already mentioned it.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
I started playing Elite on, which is a space shooter game, on the old BBC Micro Model B, which was one of the first home computers that came out. It wasn't the first, but my journey in home computing was a ZX81. Then a ZX Spectrum, and then I used to go around to my friends who got a BBC B, which was a huge leap forward because it had 3 colours and things like that.
Oh my!
And 32K of internal memory, and it could play this game called Elite, which was incredible. It had 3D wireframe graphics, and you could fly your spaceship and shoot bad guys. It was amazing. It was just incredible. It had 8 galaxies that you could explore, and I think each galaxy had about 8,000 planets that you could visit. Wow. And it stored the data for all those planets on its very small memory. Now, there's been several remakes of that game over the centuries. Freudian slip there, yeah. Over the centuries since Elite first came out. And the most recent one, of course, is one that I have on I had it on my Mac, which now doesn't run on the Mac. They stopped supporting it on the Mac, and so I had to buy a PlayStation 4 so I could play it on that. And that is Elite Dangerous, and it's still a big title on the PlayStation. Yeah, and I think it's in its 5th year since it was.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I think they do season updates, and yeah, it's been at least 5 years, I think, since Elite Dangerous was came to fruition. Yeah, it's a beautiful game. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So that would be my favourite.
Brilliant. When I had you in mind for this, I also thought about, obviously it's not extremely different to the original, but Res in VR.
Oh, Res.
Oh,
yes.
that's fun.
Because
Yes.
Res in VR was like a very, very good experience.
Oh, yeah, you've both tried that on my headset, on my console, haven't you?
Yeah.
The Res experience when it came out on PS2 was a beautiful thing, wasn't it? A beautiful psychedelic shooter sound, music, interactive,
More words.
experience. But then when you put your VR headset on, you enter a whole new world, don't you? Yeah. It's still as true to the original, but just so much more. Yeah. Anyway,
I did think of one, Tomb Raider, if you count that.
Yes.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They basically rebooted it, kind of. It's really quite good. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I don't really have much to say about
What do you like
it.
about it compared to the other ones? I don't know if you played any other ones or.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think I like reboots or remakes or anything. The only reason I like Tomb Raider is because I never played the originals. I think.
So you're a hipster.
Oh.
I'm a bit of a hipster. I think if you like something, you play the original.
Yeah.
I think that's the way I mean, you were just talking about Res. It's basically the same, isn't it? They haven't.
It is.
They haven't changed it.
No, nothing's changed.
I mean, there's a different game mode, isn't there?
There is a different game mode and new level, I think. Yeah, or new levels within the game mode. Yeah.
But that's the thing with Halo Reach. There's not much that's changed at all. It's like mainly like the menu system that's changed and the fact that it's on PC.
Yeah. Still true to itself, is it?
Yeah,
I think if someone rebooted my favorite genre of game or whatever franchise, then I'd be like, it's not like it was, that sort of thing. So I'm not sure I'd actually like it, to be honest.
Yeah. I think if I could play the original as it is right now with my best friend on multiplayer, then yeah, I'd probably do that. But I can't, so therefore that's why I was so hyped to be able to have that opportunity again, even if it's not exactly the same.
Yeah,
I've still got that opportunity now, whereas I couldn't before, unless I paid for Xbox Live and that kind of thing. Yeah. I also thought as well unless you got anything more to say about that. A big one for me is Counter-Strike Global Offensive compared to the predecessor before that was Counter-Strike Source, and before that was Counter-Strike 1.6.
So what's developed over those three evolutions?
Mainly graphics and movement. That's pretty much it. I mean, the very, very tiny details that they've changed, but yeah, it's the movement in the game engine.
Are the maps the same?
A lot of them are actually the same. Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah.
So you must know those maps inside out, do you?
Yeah. I mean, there's one that's probably the most popular one, is Dust 2, it's called. Which is the second, Dust again. The second iteration of Dust. But it's just, that map is in CSGO, CS Source, and CS 1.6.
Okay.
So you can see all the different changes in how the graphics work on each different one. I only really got into Counter-Strike in Global Offensive, so that's probably why it's my favourite. But yeah.
Well, we did start playing it at Source, didn't we?
We did, yeah. I've got quite a few hours in Source. I think I've got like maybe 700 out, maybe more than 700 hours in Source. But in CS:GO, I've got 2,600.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
So,
wow.
But yeah, we did.
You could have learned to play the piano.
You're highly invested, you could say.
I enjoy it a lot. For sure.
What would you say to somebody that would say to you, "What a waste of time"?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
It's hard to argue against it, but if you're going to get entertainment, then bang for your buck. It was very, very, very good.
Gotcha.
I don't really know what else you can do outside of video games and maybe, I don't know, outside of video games, that would get you 2,700 hours, 600 hours worth of entertainment for, I think I bought it for $19.99, if that.
I was just going to say the value for money for entertainment received. Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I go to the extreme though and spend a lot of time on it.
Yeah, but it's funny, isn't it, that we would say, what a waste of time that you've experienced all that pleasure and probably, I don't know, mental stimulation. In playing certain computer games, you learn, you strategize, there's lots of beneficial things about playing certain games, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of focus is put on the negatives that might be around computer games, but nobody would say that about you spent 2,000 hours reading a book or a series of books, or
or even something like mind melting, like scrolling Facebook or something like that.
That's true.
If I sit there scrolling Facebook, my brain literally melts. If I jump on a game on the computer, I get my brain feels stimulated. I get actually refreshed by playing it. Obviously, not everyone's like that.
No,
and some people it feels like it's workout playing a video game, especially a game like Counter-Strike. But for me, that's like an escape. It helps reboot.
You gain pleasure, and it's a way of relaxation, I suppose. Or
definitely for me.
Recreation.
Recreation and relaxation.
And certainly from a monetary point of view, what great value for money.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can do things like playing golf and that kind of thing, which obviously is very, very good
physically.
But for the price aspect of it, it's a lot more expensive than price per hour anyway than playing a video game.
Now, what you should have been spent over 2,000 hours to combat the sedentary element of sitting at a mouse and keyboard is you should have spent those 2,000 hours on a Wii Fit board.
Yeah, that's true.
I think you're true.
Exactly.
Yeah, or something like that.
2,500 hours on the Wii Fit board. In hula hoops and that kind of.
Then you'd be as fit as the keen golfer.
Yep.
and spent a fraction of the money. Because I think there is a golf game in Wii, isn't there?
Yeah. Oh, it's terrible. It's so hard.
Is it?
Yeah, it's not just a matter of swinging. Oh no.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
10-pin bowling then or something. Yeah, there's lots of cycling. There's a cycling game.
Yeah, it's true.
And you don't even have to go out in the cold.
Yeah, what are you people doing? Get a game.
Yeah. There we go. Oh, that's an interesting point, actually. I hope we haven't wandered off. I listened to a podcast today, it was a science one, about a new peripheral for future of virtual reality gaming, which involves some haptic gloves.
Oh, finally.
Have you heard about this?
Wow.
No, but
a pair of gloves that when you're in a VR environment, you wear these gloves, and as you touch, the example that was given was that this bloke was the rain was falling, and the guy said, right, extend your hand out, put palm upwards, and he could feel the rain landing on his hand.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah, because they have little air pockets, hundreds of air pockets within the surface of the palm of the glove and the fingers of the glove, and the computer will, or the game itself will activate the pockets to feel. So you'd see the raindrops landing on your hand, and you'd feel them as well.
Ready Player One explored this premise quite well, and I'm so glad that I didn't realize it was so far along.
Yeah,
that's great.
Wow, brilliant.
It's getting there. Yeah. Sorry, we may have distracted away from your original remake.
That's right.
Video game remakes title, but it's a lovely thought.
It's exciting.
Yeah,
that's my time anyway.
Yeah, you wait till the holodecks on Star Trek become a reality, and you're playing CS:GO or whatever it is. CS:GO in a holodeck. You get a good workout then.
I'm waiting for when it goes like into your brain, just like in Caprica, and you literally you're lying there, but you're actually in a different world. So there's no restrictions at all because it's all mental.
But are we slightly scared by that future as well?
Yes. I wouldn't sign up for that. I don't think.
Not.
No.
Because that involves implants and stuff like that, doesn't it? And
Even if it was a
Possibly.
Tomb Raider remake.
Ooh. I'm sold.
Either for Tomb Raider or Reds. Yeah, no, I'm excited by those developments, but I'm also anxious about them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm worried about whether, because in Caprica, if you remember, they get addicted to it, don't they? They don't.
Yes.
They don't want to come out of that fake world,
Yeah.
the artificial reality in which they spend their time.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, which can't be good for anyone.
No.
Cool. Yeah. That's me up anyway.
And now it's time for Random Chatting.
Okay, well, we've had a nice little time talking about what we want to talk about.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about something we don't want to talk about.
No, you can't start again. You can't say that.
Only joking. No, joking. You gotta have some humour. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
For the homework of this week, if you remember, we pushed it back from last week because we had a special guest. Was to read 2 John, the whole book of 2 John, which is only one chapter. It's very, very easy.
Not very
it's only,
big.
only a few
No, not
minutes.
at all.
Yeah, and then basically come back with any thoughts or whatever. Yeah, however we're feeling about it.
Who's going to start?
Ford.
Okay. Well, so interestingly enough, this and the third letter are technically anonymous. Apparently, I looked it up, and because they're both signed by the elder is apparently the writer.
Yeah.
They subscribe. They say it's John because apparently his writing style is very similar.
The Apostle John. Yeah.
Yes, which is quite interesting.
They think it could most likely be him. Yeah, who
Yeah.
wrote it.
Yeah.
And it was written apparently in the same time period as well, and all that good stuff.
All 3 of those letters. I don't think you can really read the second one apart from the others. I don't know. Anyway, I'll let you carry on. What you want to say.
No, but
I know.
yeah, we are.
I found it helpful to read the other 2 as well. But anyway, carry on.
Yeah, I looked in my study Bible and got a bit of background, and it was very useful.
Good.
Yeah, no, I feel like this book is very much angled towards like congregation, like how to be good and strong in doctrine and in love. You know, it's very short, so there's not many points it actually makes, but I feel like they're both geared towards congregation, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was definitely writing to a church, wasn't he? Yeah.
Well, I wondered, really, did you read it as if he was talking to a small house church or to a woman and her family?
Well,
because apparently there's some debate about that.
Okay, yeah, the wording leads you to believe he's writing it to a woman, doesn't it? But apparently, I haven't got it in front of me now. That was quite common, and I was thinking about this actually. The church is often referred to as a female.
The
bride of Christ is the term used to describe the church. So my understanding is that wasn't uncommon. It was also done in one of the Peter's letters as well.
Oh yeah.
I haven't got my notes up to date on that, but so I think, although it sounds like it's writing it to a individual woman, it's actually to the congregation of that particular church, and we can only speculate on where or what church it was.
I think it was a church in Ephesus, according to my study book.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'll take that.
Well, I don't think it's written in the text. I think it's
Yeah, no, but people obviously study this, don't they, and figure stuff out from church.
I think at the end, in verse 13, obviously right at the end, it says, "The children of your sister, who is chosen by God, send their greetings." So it's like the congregation of a sister church, I think, anyway.
Yeah. So the sister is referring to another church.
Yeah.
And I think that church is the church that's written to in the book of 1 John, which is a much longer letter, 5 chapters, and it's really worth a read if you haven't read it yet, or haven't read it recently. It covers a lot of stuff. He was trying to correct their false teachings, or their acceptance of false teachings.
Yes.
Critically, that they were beginning to believe that Jesus hadn't come in the flesh, that he wasn't actually of God, or Jesus hadn't come in the flesh.
Yeah.
Gnostics.
Yes. So it was beginning
Technical term. There you go.
that whole thinking was beginning to creep into the early Christian church in these letters, and that's what he was addressing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deceivers, verse 7.
Yeah. It's quite strong in places. Well, I'm now talking about 1 John as well as 2 John.
Yeah.
Ooh, dear.
Yeah. There's some strong writing there.
Yeah.
Well, like if a false prophet comes to your house, if they preach a gospel that doesn't have Jesus, then turn them away or something like that.
Yeah.
It's verse 10. If anyone comes to you and does not bring this teaching, do not take them into your house or welcome them.
Mhm.
Anyone who welcomes them shares in their wicked work. Yeah.
It is quite strong, isn't it?
See, I think that's not necessarily people who don't believe, that will contradict other elements of the Christian teachings, that you don't accept non-believers. It's talking about if their teaching is against God.
Yeah.
I that's the way I would perceive that. Anyway.
Well, the thing is,
I don't
if
know
someone,
if I've got that right.
I think you're right, because if someone did come, a preacher came to our town or whatever, and we say, yeah, come in our house, then we're kind of endorsing it, aren't we?
Yeah, if
People
they
are
were
thinking,
a false prophet, yeah. If
you're putting them up, you must agree with them, you know.
I think that was seen even more so back in that day. Was if you take somebody in and give them a meal or you house them, then it's very much like they are under your house now, like under your responsibility, or actually part of your family-ish for this time being. Whereas obviously now that's not really the case as much, but obviously back then, if you're getting someone who, as you say, is preaching against the teachings of Jesus and actually taking them in, then as you say, it kind of endorses it a lot more anyway. Yeah.
I had a question. Right, so he talks a lot about the truth. He says walking in the truth, loving them in the truth, knowing the truth. What do you think the truth is? I mean, I have a pretty good guess, but I just wondered.
Okay. Devon, you answer that one if you can.
Nice.
What?
Do you mean at the beginning?
Yeah, right at the beginning. Yeah.
Verse 3, I think. Yeah. The greeting, shall I read it to you? Grace, mercy, and peace from God the Father and from Jesus Christ, the Father's Son, will be with us in truth and love. Is that what you're referring to?
In verse 2 as well.
Yeah.
I think verse 2 and 3 talk about different truths. In 2, I think it's the truth of Jesus Christ as the Son of God, as part of the Godhead. Whereas in 3, I think it's more of like the truth is in understanding and a way of actually, I don't know, being true to each other as a church as well, rather than a particular single truth. Does that make sense?
I think it goes back as well to him trying to rectify this false teaching as well. So you've got the true gospel message, the truth that Jesus taught, and then this other teaching that is creeping in. That would be my thoughts. What do you think then, Ford?
Well, I was going to agree with that. I was going to say, like, walking in the gospel, loving them in the gospel, and you know, truth being basically the Christian way of life, I guess. That was my guess, but it's just quite interesting because it doesn't really go into that. I think it's quite obvious, but
in verse 2,
from context,
because obviously Jesus described himself as the way, the truth, and the life, and it says because of the truth which lives in us and will be with us forever. It's in verse 2. It's like, he's talking about Jesus as the Son of God. That's how I took it anyway.
Yeah. It's pointing to Jesus all the time, I think, isn't it? Yeah.
I also thought, going back a few sentences, in verse 10, we're talking about welcoming into your house. I've seen that some people think that it could be meaning the house of God. So not actually taking people into who teach opposite of what Jesus taught, actually as a part of your congregation.
Yeah. Protecting the pulpit, in other words. The person who speaks from the front should be somebody who's trustworthy and full of the truth, rather than somebody who's bringing false teaching. Yeah. That's a good point. I think you've hit on something there. Yeah.
I'll add that to my study Bible.
Yeah.
Well, that's I don't know.
Devon had a revelation.
Yeah.
That you read somewhere.
Yeah.
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 Cool.
Oh, it's a wonderful little well, it's a letter, isn't it?
It's only three bits, 3 parts to it.
Yeah.
Greeting, farewell, and a bit in the middle.
Yeah. I think I just pull out a few sentences that jumped out at me in verse 5. I ask that we love one another.
Yeah.
That we walk in love. Also, there's a warning: watch out that you do not lose what we have. Verse 8. And then I find verse 9 quite interesting. Anyone who runs ahead and does not continue in the teaching of Christ does not have God. So it's almost like a be careful there. Don't get ahead of yourselves. Don't be eager to accept anything and everything, which obviously is something that must have happened.
Yeah.
I think that's what that running ahead is probably referring to. Yeah, very good.
Which is fair, because Gnosticism, which is why I'm pretty sure that's what this is talking about, that they ended up having some very wacky beliefs. It was I can't really bring them to mind right now, but you could just Google it if you want. So I can understand if you leave Jesus behind, you run off. It gets very weird.
Yeah.
So stick to the truth.
Absolutely.
Read your Bible.
And I don't know if you want to draw it to a close. That's a wonderful book, as I say. Read First John as well. That was a good read. There's a lot more detail in there about some of the stuff that they were beginning to allow in that he was concerned about. But I wanted just to probably, and you might have more to add, I don't know, that whole business of grace, mercy, peace, truth, and love, those can on their own, out of context, can seem like a bit wishy-washy and weak, but they're not signs of weakness. In fact, they actually portray great strength. These are powerful concepts that we're reading about here. And it's not easy. That's a difficult reality to live in, isn't it? It's not a sign of weakness.
I suppose when you've got those things as your motive, then you can put up with so much more.
Yeah.
I suppose that's where that comes from.
Yeah. I've been reading in Acts recently about some of the stuff that the early church, the early believers died for their faith, and they were willing and prepared to do that. And people still do today, don't they? We don't often realise or appreciate sometimes, what real conviction in Christ's teachings can sometimes demand, But powerful stuff. God is good. Yeah.
Very good.
And he loves us very much. Yeah. True, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, nice.
That's what we've hit.
Good job, people.
Yeah, put a pin in that one.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Excellent.
Thank you, guys.
End of random chat.
It's homework time and farewell.
Well, that kind of sums up a bit, doesn't it? I mean, thank you for our lovely little chattings. For our homework of next week, it has been so nicely suggested by one of our co-hosts here. Who knows which?
Who?
Who can say? Call me out.
That we traditionalist.
Yeah, exactly. That we watch something, and this something is Casablanca, the film.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a classic.
Yeah, a bit of a classic.
Yes. A classic film.
Is it black and white? I can't remember.
It is black and white from 1942.
Gosh dang.
I could tell you whether it won the Oscar or not that year if you'll hang on a moment. Okay, so Casablanca, the film that won the Oscar in 1943.
43? Oh,
yes.
Wow,
that's so long ago. That's in the past.
It is in the past.
That's like before time.
Yeah. A bit of a classic. And if you can get your hands on it, viewer, please join us in watching it. Send in your thoughts.
Keep saying viewer, they're listeners.
Oh, listener.
Well, that's
yes.
If they view us on YouTube, we don't see a lot.
You don't see that, no. listener or whatever, a podcaster or how you say it. Send in your thoughts and prayers. And let us know what you think as well, because we'll be discussing it next week. You can email us actually on theoryofanything@hotmail.com. Send us your thoughts, anything like that, or on Twitter @theoryofanything, TING. And then tweet us at us, whatever, with any of your thoughts of Casablanca or any of the segments or homework or whatever we've done this week as well.
We'd love to include you in our conversations.
Yeah, also we post things on Twitter as well, so if you want to hear anything that we have to say outside of the show,
any follow-ups or anything like that, info.
Carry on the conversation there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful, gents. Thank you.
Brilliant. I think we might be under an hour this one. Lovely.
Wow. Cool.
Brilliant.
They said it couldn't be done.
They lived in hope. And they got what they wanted. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
Always a pleasure. Look forward to sitting around the microphone again with you again soon.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.